Karl.
Yes.
That time a sumo wrestler had surgery to make his head taller.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that title.
Where do you find this crap?
On the internet. A lesser known fact about the sport of sumo wrestling is that, in Japan at least, up until the mid-90s, the sport had a height requirement. Now, as unbelievable as this is going to sound, up until that height requirement was rescinded, there are multiple confirmed accounts of sumo wrestlers who quite literally came up short having surgery to make their fucking heads taller.
Multiple cases.
Yes, and we'll discuss those in a moment, but the most famous example of a person having surgery to make their head taller, a sentence I'm going to keep saying because it's so fucking ridiculous, is the case of a famous Japanese sumo wrestler called, and the weebs in the comment section are already complaining about my pronunciation, but Mainoumi Shuhei. That's my best guess at how to pronounce this dude's name. I apologise if I got it wrong. I don't speak fucking Japanese. Please stop. It's so baffling, isn't it? It's like, how are you mispronouncing this word of a language you don't speak? The one that always cracks me up is when people pull me up on my pronunciation of Wakanda. It's like, it's not even fucking real. Like, imagine how sad and empty your life has to be to go onto the internet and sit there and type a full paragraph about someone mispronouncing the name of a fictional place that does not exist.
I think my personal favourite has to be when you said aluminium or aluminium for you Americans.
As a joke.
And people were in the comments going, that's not how we pronounce it in America.
I want to get comments like that framed on my wall, with the headline underneath of just like, local man discovers sarcasm. It's so bad.
So, Mainoumi Shuhei.
Yep, that's the pronunciation we're going for. Comment section be damned.
Tell me about this guy.
Well, he's consistently ranked as one of the greatest sumo wrestlers in history, a fact that is especially, impressive considering that most of the time he competed, he was wrestling people literally twice his size.
Twice his size?
Yeah, one of the reasons Mainoumi is so popular in Japan is because at his competitive peak, he was 5'7" tall and weighed about 200 pounds, whereas most of his opponents clocked in at about 300 pounds plus and usually had about a foot of height on him.
How is that even fair? Like, boxing has weight classes.
Yeah, specifically to stop this from happening, because, you can't really consider it a fair fight when one guy has 100 pounds of weight and a foot of height on the other competitor. And in Japanese sumo, there are no weight classes, so obviously it's invariably dominated by the largest, heaviest men, which is why, this height limit was introduced. Because obviously it's not fair, is it, to put a guy who's 5'7" against someone who's 6'5" with 100 pounds of weight on him. But Mainoumi was able to overcome this, and that's one of the reasons he got so popular, because he didn't beat his opponents because he was bigger and heavier than them. He beat them through superior sumo. Because that's the idea of the sport. It's like someone who possesses superior sumo can defeat any opponent. And he was like the most literal example of that. Just seeing a guy who's like dwarfed by most of his opponents winning.
Well, that's a common thing in most martial arts.
Yeah, that's skill trumps strength. But even then, they still have weight classes. Like, judo competitions still have weight classes. Karate competitions still have weight classes. Because even if the person of a lower weight class is, more skilled than the heavier opponent, it's just... It doesn't seem in the spirit of fair competition, just pit those two people against each other, does it?
You said Mainoumi was good.
Yeah.
How good?
Well, to the point where he's consistently ranked one of the sport's greatest champions because he beat his opponents not through his bulk but through superior sumo. And I love that idea. It's like the traditional image people have in their head of a sumo wrestler is this towering man mountain who just weighs 400 fucking pounds. You got this Mainoumi just strutting in, and just through pure skill, he's just beating on these people. It's great.
It's like the Viper versus the Mountain, isn't it?
Yeah, only in this case the Viper wins because he doesn't taunt his opponent like an asshole.
Because he's not a fucking idiot.
Say it. Say her name. Say it!
Have you ever seen that advert the actor who plays the Mountain did to advertise his own brand of vodka? The Mountain has got his own vodka with his face on it, and to advertise it shows him doing that to a guy who won't drink it. Just as going, ah!
Everybody loves the Icelandic mountain vodka. What did you say?
I love the vodka! I love the vodka!
Everybody.
Getting back to Mainoumi, the sport of sumo almost never had one of its greatest champions because up until the mid-90s there was a rule in place that nobody could compete in professional sumo unless they were over 5 foot 8 inches tall.
I see where this is going. Mainoumi was 5'7", wasn't
Yes,
he?
an inch shorter than he needed to be to compete. So, rather than deny the world, like, footage of him endlessly chest slapping people like E. Honda in a purple diaper, what he went right ahead and did is got a small bag surgically implanted under his scalp, which was then gradually filled with silicone till it was about an inch thick. And I know what you're thinking, Brad, and people at home. 1, that's fucking disgusting, and 2, are there any pictures of this? And of course, the answer to the second one is yes, there are. And as you can see from that photo, Mainoumi is being measured, and as a direct result of that inch-thick piece of silicone he has implanted under his scalp, he's just tall enough to compete. For anyone who's curious, according to Mainoumi, yes, it fucking hurt. Which obviously is like the understatement of the century there, isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's an inch-thick piece of silicone pressing against your skull constantly.
It just seems like such an extreme solution.
It does, doesn't it? And you're probably wondering, where did he get the idea to surgically graft a piece of silicone below his scalp to make him taller? And the answer is, from other fucking sumo wrestlers who've done the exact same thing. And while Mainoumi is the most famous example of someone doing this, he's far from the most extreme one.
So who is the most extreme example?
Well, from my research, I'd have to say it's a guy called Takeji Harada, who had 6 inches of silicone implanted below his scalp. And you're probably thinking, Karl, is there a photo of this? And my answer is, of course there fucking is. Look at this shit. And my favourite part about these 2 photos is, I'm pretty sure if you look at the photos, it's the same guy doing the measuring. And he's got the same look on his face. So just like, I can't believe...
Astonishment.
I can't believe some fucker has tried this again. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Like, think about how much that fucking hurt. Do you know what I don't get about this, though? Why none of the sumo wrestlers thought about doing that thing Bart does in that one episode of Simpsons where he's too short to play Fallout Boy.
Yeah.
Where he goes out and he buys, like, the little dog and he gets, like, the suit with the pinstripes on it and wears the platform shoes. And he has this line that has always cracked me up because of how casually it's delivered. Where he walks into the audition and just goes, good news, I've grown that extra inch plus several feet more.
Good news, gentlemen. I've grown that extra inch you wanted, plus several feet more.
Just the way he delivers that line always slays me.
So was this the reason why they eventually decided to relax the height requirement?
It's part of the reason why, because obviously it was an open secret in Japan that sumo wrestlers were doing this, to like get around this regulation. But it wasn't really considered to be like an issue they needed to address until it started being reported in the West because it caused embarrassment to the sport. Because obviously when you've got the headline, sumo wrestler makes head taller to compete, that's the kind of negative press you don't fucking want. So they quietly relaxed the height limitations, and obviously Mainoumi, as soon as that happened, went ahead and removed the 1 inch thick chunk of agony embedded on top of his skull and went on to become the sport's greatest champion.
We've talked about it before, but it is a question that comes up a lot.
Which one?
Where do you find this crap?
Oh yeah, I do get asked that a lot. And the answer I always say is I read. Yeah. Because obviously you've known me a long time now, Brad. You know that even before we started the channel, I've always just enjoyed talking about the random bullshit that I've learned during my day-to-day dealings as a person who writes things for the internet. And I do get asked a lot where I find my ideas, and there is no simple answer to that because there's no one place I go for my research, unlike virtually every other person who does this apparently.
Oh no.
Because every other fucker just goes to Today I Learned and copy-pastes all the shit from there.
I feel like you're referencing something very specific there from your Twitter.
Yes, that is one Matthew Santoro. Oh, should I have to give him his full title? Admitted plagiarist Matthew Santoro. So, Matthew Santoro just plagiarizes shit all the time. And recently, it came to my attention that he started a side gig called Fact Maniac. So I'm not accusing him of ripping us off or anything like that. I just find that similarity especially hilarious. Because I'm guessing you just did what the guy who set up Fact Fiend originally did for me, which is scroll down a list of available domains, pick the one with fact in it that's the most succinct. But if you go onto this Twitter for Fact Maniac, which we'll link below, there's a fun game that you can try that I played for an entire afternoon, which is go on to Today I Learned on Reddit and type in one of the keywords from one of Fact Maniac's fun facts. And you'll see that it's copied almost verbatim from a a highly scored link on Today I Learned. So what this means is that Matthew Santoro, who I don't think we'd be remiss saying is like the face of like this kind of genre on YouTube, like he is like the face of fact YouTube, isn't he? He's like the most subscribed to channel and the most visible person who does this sort of content. He's just copy pasting things from Today I Learned and then posting them just on Twitter. And that alone is pretty sad. But here's the bit that cracks me up. If you go onto the Fact Maniac website, he has a link for like business inquiries, which means he's charging businesses to advertise on like Twitter or Instagram, where the fuck he posts this shit. And all he's doing is just copy pasting. The defense that a lot of people do there is that you can't copyright facts, which is true. You cannot copyright facts. But it's this concept in law known as the sweat of the brow doctrine. Right. Which is like you can't copyright, like say, a dictionary. You can't copyright the shit that's in a dictionary. So obviously it's knowledge. You can't copyright, but you can copyright the format of the dictionary. So in regards to like fact articles, like if I wrote like top 10 best shark movies, I can't copyright just writing about a fucking shark. But because there's effort gone into compiling that list, that falls under the the definition of like the sweat of the brow doctrine. Because significant effort was put into compiling this, thereby it constitutes a unique piece of work that can be copyrighted. Right. And like obviously, I'm guessing he doesn't know about that because he's never done a fucking day of research in his life.
I didn't realise how blatant it was until I saw you tweeting the pictures out.
You can put the pictures behind me, just show that he's literally just copy-pasting. And I think I said on Twitter that I would pay actual real money to see him on camera explain why he thinks that is an acceptable amount of effort to put into creating something he charges businesses to advertise next to.
I just think it's a shame.
It is, isn't it?
When people do that, it just comes across as they're not interested in trying to share facts because they're sharing things that are already out there.
Yeah, like there's no effort gone. Like the fact there's no effort going into the research, just like to me, it's like a lack of passion in what you're doing, which obviously in any creative endeavor, that's just sad. Like you've got no passion for like this for what you're doing. You might as well be working in a fucking office at that point because like all you're doing, you're going through the motions. So I don't think we mentioned it on the channel before, but one of the reasons we don't do requests and why I've never thought about getting another writer in is because I have a genuine passion for finding cool facts and I want my enthusiasm for the things that I found to come across into a video, which I don't think I'd be able to do reading out someone else's work.
We're not just trying to suck our own dicks here. Like, there's other people out there who do the research as well.
Like today I found out, like I'll always sing their praise because like the editor Daven does have he has a genuine passion for like sharing cool shit. And like he will spend sometimes like days editing articles because he wants to put more, because he finds more cool shit while he's fact checking, and that's just also like that enthusiasm for like just sharing knowledge is it's good, and that's why I enjoy writing for them. So it's why like I continue to write for them. Yeah,
it's just it's a shame that the Goliath of this.
Yeah, that's why he's like the most visible, successful person in like fact. I don't know what even is this like subgenre of YouTube called
education, I suppose.
But like the most successful person in it clearly doesn't give a fuck.
And it's the fact that his fan base is going to be so huge that we're probably going to get shit for talking about it.
But it's the fact he's so obviously only in it for the money because he's literally copy pasting stuff that other people curated and then charging businesses to advertise. It's so cynical.